Hi, it's Dr. Lori. I'm back with more real bargains. That's right, real bargains. These are the bargains people are finding at estate sales, at yard sales, at thrift stores, all over. People like you who have been shopping and treasure hunting. What do? You watch my videos, you see what I'm appraising, I give you the keys to the castle, I'm showing you what you got to look for. Go look for it, go buy it. And again, real bargains. You can find it. Everybody's given me permission to retell their stories. Oh my gosh, we've got some great ones. This episode, jewelry, sure. And then this episode, some Spanish colonial art. Haha, didn't expect that. So let's get started. My first real bargains comes from an estate sale. I talked to this person at a Dr. Lori event. Now, you know all about my events and, of course, classes and other ways that you can get in touch. But basically, this came from a Dr. Lori event. And my participant in the event had gone to an estate sale. And she said, you know, I looked around the estate sale and I like to look for jewelry. And I actually found this particular set. I bought 3 boxes of jewelry. So imagine pretty good sized boxes of jewelry at this estate sale. And she said, I looked around, I wasn't really sure about the stones, but then I used the Presidium gemstone tester to actually test the stones. Well, their Smoky Topaz jewelry set, this Smoky Topaz jewelry set that she found at the estate sale was truly a real bargain. What's the set? A jewelry set can be many different things, but in this particular case, it was a pendant, so a pendant that you had to put on a chain. There was no chain for the necklace, but the pendant, a ring, a pretty good sized cocktail ring. And, you know, I like cocktail rings. I like a big ring. I think it looks good. And then also the matching earrings, all set in 14 karat gold. So you've got the 14 karat gold for value. The earrings had a nice lever back, security back, so if they're heavy, they won't fall off, basically. And then you have the cocktail ring and the pendant. The pieces all together were beautiful smoky topaz. So a dark brown color, a real rich brown color for the stone. The stones are faceted cut, beautifully set, and pronged set. And I always say about once a year you want to check the prongs on any of your gemstone jewelry. Go into a jeweler, have those prongs checked so you don't lose them, so that stone doesn't fall out of the prong setting. 14 karat gold setting. She bought 3 boxes at this estate sale of jewelry, and those 3 boxes cost her $39 for all 3 boxes. Okay, so that's pretty good, right? That was a very good bargain in terms of it. What is this set worth? Not all 3 boxes, not all 3 boxes, just this set. This set is worth $1,200 for the earrings, the ring, and the pendant alone. That's a real bargain. This next real bargain comes from a video call and the good old Goodwill. You know the Goodwill, right? The thrift store, the Goodwill Bluebox that you can get online. And I've talked to you about these before, and we found a lot of treasures there before. The video caller called and said, Dr. Lori, you know, I want you to look at this particular brooch. You know I love brooches. I love pins. I think brooches are so cute and cool. And remember how you remember this? I taught you this. Remember my little phrases? A brooch is big, a pin is puny, right? A brooch is big. Anyway, so this brooch is a beautiful brooch. And this particular brooch she found in a Goodwill Bluebox. $49.99 for the Goodwill Bluebox. You buy it online and then you get the box. So she said, I got the Goodwill Bluebox. It was a tangled mess. I was completely sick of the whole thing. I could see that. I'd be like that. I'd be like, oh, this is a big, huge mess. I will say that the pin trick works if you use a pin to try to separate some of the necklaces from each other. And then this little move works too. If you kind of just go like this with a chain in between, it might help you if you have a tangled mess. Having said that, the tangled mess was what precluded her from really looking very closely at a lot of pieces in the Goodwill Bluebox, including this one. So she took this pin as she was separating out the stuff in the Goodwill Bluebox, and she took it and she put it into the basically a junk jewelry group that she had put aside. And she always sells the junk jewelry at a flea market that she does locally. Okay, so the good stuff she sells online, she resells online, and the other stuff she sells at a local flea market. Okay, so she said, I tossed it into that pile with the flea market stuff, and I didn't really take another look at it until I was ready to go to the flea market later in that week. So as she's looking through it, she starts to see what's what. We do the video call, and she finds that it's marked 18K. That's right, 18 karat gold. And when you see those fineness marks, I told you about these on my website. They're listed on the website at drloriv.com. So when she has this particular piece, she sees the 18 karat mark and she says, oh my gosh, I better take a closer look at this. And we do a video call, and here's what she found. She found from the Goodwill Bluebox a brooch that is a circle brooch, very typical circle brooch, with many semi-precious gemstones, tourmalines, garnets, peridot, citrine. There's aquamarines here. There's also amethyst, really a beautiful example. Now, some of these circle brooches are oftentimes used as mother's pins. I don't know if you've heard about those. You've heard about mother's rings and mother's pins. And each particular semi-precious stone relates to a birthstone of a child for that person. That's not what this is. This isn't a mother's brooch, but this particular piece is in fact a circle brooch with many different semi-precious stones. 18 karat gold is what it's set in. It's a beautiful example. It's in gorgeous condition, and luckily she didn't mistakenly sell it at the flea market. This piece she bought at, of course, the blue box from Goodwill, the Goodwill Bluebox. She bought it for $49.99 for the whole box, you know, the tangled mess of everything, and I bet there was more good stuff in that box too. What's it worth? Value on this brooch, $750 in 18 karat yellow gold. A beautiful example. That's a real bargain too. This next real bargain comes from a video caller and a trip to the thrift store. That's right. So this video caller said, Dr. Lori, I went to the thrift store. I love purses. I know how she feels. I love purses too. I don't care. There are not enough purses in the world. We need more purses. I like purses. Everything from clutches, handbags, big shoulder bags, duffel bags. I don't care. I like a bag. Anyway, so she said, I went to the thrift store and I saw a bunch of purses, all this sort of, you know, and this is true in a lot of thrift stores. You know, you see either shelves of purses, or they're all just in a pile of purses. And this particular video caller said, I saw this and I liked the red. I was attracted to the red color. Now, I liked the beads too. The glass beads on this purse are really, really very well done. They're very well sewn on. They're very well designed. They're beautiful. So she gets this purse. She says, I knew it immediately that I wanted it. What are some of the things I told her to look for? These are some of the things you can look for. So this is how Real Bargains is going to, of course, help you. It's going to help you if you're shopping to know what to find. So what to look for? Look for tags on the interior. Look for a lined interior purse. Look for glass beads. You know the difference between glass and plastic. Look for glass beads. Look for the bead work. And look for good quality materials. A designer name always helps. This particular purse is a great purse, and this one is an Inga Christopher tagged. That's right, it had the tags on it. Never been used. Inge Christopher purse. Inge Christopher, well-known designer of purses and other accessories, and this piece was at the thrift store. Are you ready for how much she paid? Hold on to your hats that go along with your purses. This particular piece was 50 cents. That's right. It's a beautiful red textile. It's gorgeous glass beads in black that contrast, of course, the red textile. Then you've got, again, the piping all the way around, two handles, not just one handle, a closure, and inside lined with Inge Christopher's characteristic and authentic identifier, the tags inside. Just beautiful. Really a good piece. In terms of size, about 7.5 inches long, a nice clutch with two handles, a gorgeous Real Bargains. Are you ready for this? What's it worth? It's worth $150, and she bought it for 50 cents at the thrift store. If you don't think that there is good stuff at the thrift store, if you don't think that the stuff is actually there, who's missing it, who's donating it, who thinks it's not pretty, who decides it's not their taste, you don't even, who doesn't know what they've got? There's a million of those people. And then, of course, the thrift store people who are just pricing things at numbers that are ridiculously low. It's out there. I'm telling you, I'm showing you. I really like this Real Bargain because I really like Spanish colonial sculpture. I think it's very, very beautiful and interesting. I like the stories of all of the saints. I like the stories of any religion. I think it's very interesting. It relates to culture, relates to people. I like all of that. These particular pieces are from a video caller, and a video caller who bought them at a thrift store. And it's a pretty good story. So the video caller said, Dr. Lori, I picked these up at a thrift store. I bought them, I saw them, I looked at them on the shelf. There were 3 of them, and I passed them by. And I always like the I passed them by stories because it cracks me up when you're like, I really kind of should. I don't know. I want to know what like the psychology is of you're at the thrift store, you see them, you kind of want them, but you don't get them. You don't. What's the harm in putting them in the carriage? Put them in the carriage. What's the big harm? So you take them out of the carriage later. So what? But when you see them, I don't know. I think you should really go, boom, I'm putting them in the carriage. So you walk around and have it kind of gel and see if you like them. Okay, but she didn't do that. She walked by them. There were 3 of them. And she comes back. She's walking around. She's doing some shopping. She's in the thrift store. And then she says, I got to go back and I got to go those little sculptures. I've got to get those 15-inch tall, which isn't really little, 15-inch tall sculptures of a couple of figures, in fact, this figure, which she did end up buying, this one of St. Francis, and this figure, which she also ended up buying, this one of Jesus Christ. The 3rd figure wasn't there when she got back to the aisle. I told you. You don't, you want to go with your gut. Go immediately and get it into the carriage. You can make a decision about putting something back later, but get it in the carriage, stake your claim, right? So she gets these 2 and she says, well, I'm going to buy these 2. I think I'm going to use them for holiday decorations. She didn't really know what they were. She said, I don't know what they are, Dr. Lori. That's why I'm doing the video call with you. I don't really know what they are, but I figured they're obviously religious figures. I could use them around the holidays. Might be a nice addition to my holiday decor. Okay, so here's what they are. They're Santos figures. They're figures that are oftentimes used for religious purposes, ceremonies, to, of course, pray to individual saints. So you could be praying to Jesus Christ or the Virgin Mary, the Madonna. You could be praying to regional saints. And in Spanish colonial history in the 19th century, in places like, of course, South America and Mexico and other places, in the colonies, of course, of Spain, these particular pieces would be held up and revered, and they'd be prayed to for all different reasons. Oftentimes, they would, of course, be placed in a position of homage or a location of homage in one's home. So really beautiful pieces. They're polychromed wood. Polychromed, many colors, polychromed. So polychromed wood, hand-painted, hand-carved, and they're 15 inches tall. That's the kicker. They're big. So usually they're about 8 inches, but these were almost double that size, about 15 inches tall, and they date to the 19th century. They were in very good condition, and of course they have an all-inclusive base. So there's a wooden base at the bottom as part of the carved sculpture, and they can sit on a shelf or sit on a corner altar, that kind of thing. Really very beautiful, nice pieces, good examples, and they come from the late part of the 1800s. So she said, so I did buy them, but I kind of paid a lot for them, but at that point I felt kind of bad because, and you would feel this way, I would feel this way, she felt kind of bad because she lost out on the 3rd one. She knew there was a 3rd one there that when she was deciding, walking around the thrift store, she lost because somebody else went and bought that 3rd one. So she paid $37.50 for them, and each one, are you ready for this? It's a real bargain, $1,500. They're beautiful, they're hand-carved, they're hand-painted, and they're a real bargain too at $1,500. That's nice. I'm Dr. Lori. Those are real bargains that you guys are finding. I hope you find your real bargain real soon.